Annie Harlan.
Hey
Hey,
Annie,
what's happening?
How are you? Sorry, I moved
That's
my
this,
face because
this is great.
it's great
This is
to
great.
meet you, Annie. Another
This is
person.
this is you both don't know that I've been waiting for this to happen for like 2 weeks. I've been doing interviews back to back, right? And I'm using the same link, which for those of you out there that get this link, just join us. Okay, Harlan, hold on. The one thing that Harlan said that I love is when May of 2021, you say, let's put ourselves in May of 2021 and pretend we're there and look back on the year and say, what was the wording you said? Like, let's think about how we want to reflect on it in May of 2021 and already decide that now, how we want to approach this year, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
telling your story as
Yeah.
if it's already happened. But the rule is it has to be bright and it
Yeah.
has to be hopeful
Yeah.
and it has to be something that really makes you feel good to think about.
Yeah.
Knowing that, we hope it will happen, but at least giving ourselves the treat of experiencing it and then
Yeah.
working backwards.
That's awesome. Hey, don't go anywhere. Let's chat. Hey, Annie. Wait. First of all, Harlan,
Yeah.
you're amazing, and thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm
I
so
don't
grateful to
want you to
be here.
leave because you're going to get to know Annie, which is great. Unless you've got another, like Harlan blocked out this chunk of time. Look, he's a VIP. Like I got a syndicated columnist to take time out of his day to hang out with me. I'm excited. And I got like the director of everything at Springfield College to take time out of your day, Annie, to chat with me on a Zoom call. Like it is my lucky day. And if you two have never, this is what I love about the community, right? Is that folks who don't know each other, who I know have so much in common. And I think I knew this long before March because I had the luxury of traveling the country and meeting amazing advisors in Massachusetts and meeting amazing advisors in Oregon. And I'm like, oh, you guys would love each other. You've got so much in common. And the other realization what's been really funny in the last 3 months, Harlan, is that like like advisors and higher ed pros didn't realize that a college 20 minutes away was also trying to plan a welcome week. Right? Everybody thinks they're the only one in the world doing a welcome week, orientation, family weekend, and that's where the beauty of it is that we're trying to help people not feel so alone. So I want to add one more thing, and then I'm going to shut up. Harlan, you said something earlier about people being able to connect on the virtual events page. I also think that you could post on there if it's Annie, if it's you, if it's me, if you're isolated in a small campus somewhere, even if you're at a big campus somewhere and you've got tons of colleagues, you can still write on there, not how do we do bingo, but I'm not doing well. Is anybody able to talk right now? Right? And there are hundreds and now thousands of people who are going to say yes to you if you're listening. That you can just say on there like, hey, I don't feel like I don't have a community in my state. I don't have a community on my campus. We are happy to be your community, and we can create small groups out of that big group. No problem. Just let us know. You know.
Yeah, I have a question, Annie. Did you ever experience, loneliness, deep loneliness when you were going through your process of becoming a professional, whether it was on a campus or at some point? Was that a storyline in your life?
I wouldn't say deep loneliness only because of the track that I took.
Yeah.
When I experienced deep loneliness was the beginning of the journey of graduate school because I grew up in New Jersey, found my whole family, went to school in New York, and then I decided to go to Indiana University of Pennsylvania for higher ed. I lived at Clarion University, which is about an hour and a half. So I didn't know anyone, first time in my life, not knowing anyone. And I struggled in the sense that all of my friends had graduated from college and they were all living it up in the city and they were just enjoying themselves. And I'm like, no offense to Clarion because it was a different world for me that I'm like hunkered down in a residence hall hearing guns because it was hunting season. And I was terrified because I didn't even, what is this? Like, does anyone hear that so I experienced that. How do you live with yourself? And how do you start anew and how do you build relationships? And that really extroverted. And so that was like very difficult. Having done that, after graduating, I felt like it didn't take me too long, but I felt like I could do anything. You could put me anywhere in the world now, and I feel like I can succeed. So that's kind of when I had that moment, not so much in the field itself.
Yeah. I was mentioning earlier in the conversation with Jason, just going to different campuses and meeting the graduate students and just how isolated and alone they feel. And I can only imagine during this time where everything is upside down and their supervisors and all of the administration are all dealing with discomfort, not having that anchor and trying to navigate that would be incredibly challenging. And
Yeah, Annie, your timing was perfect because Carla and I had just like within the last 15 minutes mentioned that as being a really tough time in someone's career, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so now you're here. We want to rewind a little bit. Can you give us you went from undergrad to Clarion and then straight to Springfield, or did you go somewhere else in between?
No, so I went to, so I worked, at Clarion University. I actually wanted to work there after I got out, but there was a hiring freeze in Pennsylvania at the time.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up going to UMass Lowell, and I started in residence life with the first year experience program. I did that for about 2 years, and then I got the coordinator of orientation job at MCLA in North Adams in Massachusetts. And I was there, and now I'll be at Springfield for 11 years.
And your journey at Springfield has been you've worn many hats at Springfield as well.
Yep. So I started as the assistant director of student activities. At the time, our union was being built, so it was being renovated. So I started in like a very, very tiny electrical closet that exists, and then worked my way up. And then about 6 years after that, I was promoted to after a national search. Promoted to director of student activities, and I manage our campus union, and then we have 2 other performing arts spaces that we also manage, and all the green space on campus. So right now this has been fun. We're like the go-to because everyone wants the green space.
Yeah. I love the national search, and it came back to you, right? I love that because let that be like, when we search for happiness, we need not look out, we can look within.
Well, it was funny because I was the first.
Yeah.
We're very insular at Springfield College at that time.
Okay.
The president of the college, who I have a wonderful relationship with, she said, Annie, I know you're probably the right choice, right? But you need to prove it to everybody else, right? She wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a give me. Mm-hmm. So literally when I interviewed for 7 hours in my suit, walking around campus, the students were like, what are you doing today? Why are you in a suit? I'm like, good job.
You were interviewing to not change your address.
Correct. So yeah, it was great.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm happy that I was selected, and I just, it's a great place, and our students, even in this virtual time, it's really made me fall even more in love with our students because they're just so giving. I think in the virtual space, a lot of colleges were struggling, like, how do you keep those connections? How do you get them to get on a Zoom call? I didn't have that problem. We were still meeting with 282 students virtually weekly. And a lot of it was because I think they felt like, we don't want Annie to stare at a blank screen. We'll just show up.
Okay, so that's awesome. Okay, so this is something we'll be talking about, is making connections, making genuine connections. So you have a genuine connection with your students, and I think that's why somebody nominated you for this interview. You know that, right?
No, I thought that was a joke when you said it.
No. Somebody.
Jason's just looking for people.
No. At the end of interviews early on, I said, "Hey, is there anybody else that you can think of that's really been successful with virtual programming and helping students make connections with each other and making connections with colleagues?" And your name was met. They're like, "No, you got to get in touch with Annie." And they said to me, "Do you know Annie?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I know Annie." Right. So it was really great that we'd already, I think I've known you since maybe, Clarion. I don't know. Like it's been amazing to be along with you on the journey. But so yes, you were nominated, recognized. On your journey through all of your different jobs and your transition into the virtual, having the student success. What are the things that you could say to the other advisors out there? Like, why do your students like you so much? What have you done with intention to create connection with your students?
I think, it goes the same for, I wanted to work at Springfield is because we had a higher ed program here, and cultivate those relationships and build those relationships with our young professionals and our grad students so that, you know, they become our colleagues. And I use the same model. I use a coaching model, athlete at heart. And so I use a lot of that coaching, advising. I think a lot of times advisors, so when they're starting out and they're young, they want to put their stamp on everything and they want the praise and they want the kudos. And I learned early on in my career, it doesn't matter. If the students are bringing the ideas and they're putting them together and they're excited about it, it's going to work. Like very few times, you know, I ask students every question all the time. Like, what do you feel about this? What's going on with this? They need to be brought into the conversations. And I've been successful because I've let them drive the bus, safely drive the bus. I'm still there to say, no, that's illegal. No, you can't do that. But the more power and empowerment, I mean, I think that that's what leadership is all about. And also identifying people's strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes it's hard to hear, but I know that when I'm working with students, heard, which it's just mind blowing to me. I'll work with a student and be like, you're really great at this skill. And it's like, you need to figure that out and you need to expand on it because this is where I see you, you know, going big places in life. And they're like, no one has ever said that.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, Jason, you know, you got to put the time in. And if nothing else, I've learned with my staff and the students, that's not a 9-to-5 job. You got to deeply care. You got to be authentic because students know when you're just doing it to check off a box. And you got to build that rapport. So I've been at Springfield for 11 years. Like, my reach is alumni connecting with our students. And it's the same Annie that they got 11 years. I am the same that they got 11 years ago. It hasn't changed. Right. And so I think they feel comfort in knowing that you don't have to be the star of the show. You're not the star of the show. The students are the star of the show. And let them make mistakes. Let them fail. Let them learn, but be their biggest fan. And I think once they understand that you're there for them, you want them to succeed and grow, connections are made more authentic than just, I'm advising you only for this year and then I never talk to you again. You've got to keep those connections. It's like networking in the professional world. I had a meeting with a student who works now and she's trying to create virtual conferences and she's like, who can I call? I'm calling Annie. Yeah. It's not 4 years and you're done. And even if a student never uses that, they know that exists. So yeah. I think that's helped.
That's great. It's great advice to advisors to grow your network on campus. But also I think a really important point, and I'll put it in the rock and roll terms, is that you don't see yourself center stage with a microphone. Is that you're putting the students there and you're like a production manager or you're backstage and you're cool with that. You're cool with that role. And sometimes maybe in our new jobs or our new professions, we think that we have to be seen and heard and spotlight needs to be on us and everything needs to go perfectly. And no, you're saying that, no, give the stage to the students, right? And that takes some pressure off too, right?
Yeah. And you know, if you're doing this job, you really care about students and their success. So yes. Why do you need to be, and it's hard, you know, a lot of people come into this field because they were SJ presidents, they were leaders of all, and it's hard to take that back seat because you still are like, I know how to do this better. But really at the end of the day, what is better? If it's serving the students and things are getting done and they feel valued and empowered, then you've done your job, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. A lot of our conversations have been about connecting advisors, but that's going to make, I think that's really helpful advice to anybody who is advising anyone, right? Coaching, helping, encouraging, and taking more of a, you know, a non-front seat role.
Especially with our staffs, you know, I've had, you know, I don't look at hopefully, but I've had quite a few assistant directors because no one's going to stay in a role give your life every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night for a decade. Like no one does that, right?
Yeah.
So it's constantly looking at them and saying, what are your wants and desires? And I'm again really shocked that the more people that I hear supervise, they don't ask these simple questions.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want to gain out of this experience besides the students? And that's been something that's just come to me, you know,
Yeah.
my res life background. But those simple questions, because I feel like there's a lot of entry level people that don't feel the love. Feel like they're maybe being used.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like there's ways that you can motivate and inspire your young staff to keep them connected. And
so do you think that like there is always going to be that hump to overcome as a new person? Like I wanted to ask the question, like when do you know that maybe this field is not the right thing for you? Because we want everyone to find their fit, right? We want everyone to find their fit, and if higher ed's not your fit, then let's help you find your fit. But there's also always a period of challenge, like grad school, or your first job, or you're thinking that your whole career revolves around you having an awful boss, like because you'll be at other institutions, right? So I'll open that up.
Yeah, I know. I feel like best first started career, it was like, how do I get to the next step, to the next step, to the next step? And it's more seen as a sprint instead of a marathon.
Yeah.
Because they teach you, what do you get when you get to the top? More money.
Yeah. Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, because the sound is cutting on and off, and I want people to hear, I want everyone to hear that.
So I don't know where I got cut off, but the goal is like get to the next level, get to the next level, get to the next level. And then why do you want to get to that next level? Because in our minds you're seeing that's where the money comes. But they don't see that also comes all the responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
At the top. Now you're in charge of the whole enchilada. Yeah. So it's, I see young professionals like, I want to move. And they never really, so it's hard to build authentic relationships when you're constantly moving and you haven't actually anchored in.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
So Annie, have you always measured success in terms of students' engagement as opposed to success being recognized for what you do and your value? I think it's a hard thing to balance, to help those around you who would promote you and help you to get higher, to know that you have value, to prove that you have value. But at the same time, when your value is engagement, it's a different way to measure that. And how do you get comfortable with that, especially someone who is new and trying to ascend?
That's a really great question. I think I'm a conundrum, right? Because I've never put stake in anyone but myself. So I have my own goals, and I don't care if anyone recognizes me. It doesn't bother me. And it's a very strange thing. But I think it's because I know that I'm a good worker. I know that I know what I'm talking about. And I know that if I want to go somewhere, I'm going to go there. I'm going to make it happen. And that's just me personally. So in terms of my validation, especially in this virtual time, to have students come on the screen and not actually put their cameras on, and not just show up, like who knows what they're doing. I was so validated in that sense, more so than my boss saying like, great job with getting all those participation numbers. I care about that. I cared about that. These students would take the time out of their schedules to join me and check in. Many of our, I think something, maybe this is just me in this virtual, everyone's like, program more, do this. It's like, how about you just talk? How are you people doing? Most of my meetings were just check-in points.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't care about a bingo. Granted, if we had 300 people, that's awesome. But I'm not going to put stake in that. My engagement is determined and valued by those relationships. It's not about participation numbers, and it never has been. And I can see at some institutions that getting you in trouble. If you don't have the numbers, you don't get the funding. For me, I don't want to work at a place like that. So, and I've been fortunate enough at Springfield that I have been able to change those higher level thinkings at the top.
Yeah.
Supported. I don't know if that answers it, Harlan, because it's like, it's a very, for me, it's very individual, very,
Yeah.
very individual and
I
personal.
thought it was interesting how you mentioned also aligning with an institution that reflects your values and what's important to you. But then I also know in terms of, you know, the 5 love languages and the love language of affirmation, that if you're an affirmation person, then, you know, you want that affirmation because that's going to reinforce that you have value. But for you, that doesn't seem as important as the value of the impact, which there is still a form of affirmation when students show up and open their screens, so you can see them. But balancing the two, and then seeing that philosophy and the framework that you've used to guide yourself when they had this search, where, you know, you've been there for how many years, right? Then they're doing this external search. Someone could find that to be offensive or uncomfortable because the prize is right here, but you know you're so good and you know your value that you put your suit on and walked in there knowing who you are and what you're about. And I think that's really a testament to just how, when you haven't felt alone because you know, and you can always find those people. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, and you know, I could have been upset and said, really, I'm the first, because I was the first at this, like, they started mandating this. But I thought, at the end of the day, if you decide it's not me, then good luck to you. And I will find someone that will have my own path. And I guess it's this kind of confidence that you have to build up over, you've got to get the thick skin, you know, and that's very hard for younger professionals. I do see that. You know.
Well, luckily, the beginning of our conversation with Harlan was about rejection. Like, yeah, it really was. Like, that's like the first 20 minutes probably.
Yep.
We talked about how important it is to be cool with rejection, you know, and that's, yeah. But also what Harlan mentioned, the 5 love languages is Annie, and I know you do this. You are fully aware of who you are, but you also know that when you have a student employee or a staff member who needs that praise, you're great at giving it.
Right. And I'm not. And honestly, I'm not the best, right? I grew up in a family where no news is good news. So as long as you're not getting yelled at, you're fine. And then you'll be told if you're crossing a line. So it is a conscious thing, and students, but even in my personal life, something that I have done, and I teach the leaders, which is being recorded, so oh no, is I make points on my schedule, right? To say, affirm someone today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Out to someone today. I, as a person that knows that I don't need the affirmation, I know everybody else does. So in my personal life with my friends, I actually set, this is bad, I hope this doesn't go.
It's not bad, no.
I actually set on my calendar, someone today. Reach out to someone who you haven't spoken to in a while. Carve out the time, because if I don't schedule, I'm such a scheduler. If I don't schedule that, I'm missing out opportunities. And I can't tell you how many times where I've scheduled something or just a simple text message. And it's really entered this whole great conversation that I never would have happened if I didn't say you've got to be intentional about thanking people. You have to be intentional. And it's not fake. Like, that's the difference. This isn't checking off a box.
Right.
Intentional about those that you love, and you want them to know that you're consistently stretching out the olive branch, you know, because how many times in our lives we have friends, family, you don't talk to them because life happens. And then you're always, God, I wish I would speak to them. We'll just send them a text, you know, and sometimes I do that with students, you know, during this crazy time.
Yeah.
You're just constantly checking in, like, how are you? What can I do to help or support you? And sometimes you don't get a response, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want you to know I'm here and I'm willing to listen.
That's so good. So good. It really makes sense to schedule stuff. I mean, in other interviews, folks have told me about having on their calendar, go meet somebody new on campus today. Right? Go, like, once a week they go to meet someone who they don't know, to grow their network so that they can have, so that when the time comes to put out a fire, to do an event with another person, they have already had a contact that was not professional. It was just social. And I'll share this now because it's awesome. There's an SGA from Chicago that every other meeting that they get together, they don't talk about any business. They just get together and they just hang out. And I think that's really important. Like, and now we're at the time in our conversation where we're just going to hang out. So here, Annie and Harlan and I have something in common. We're all parents,
Oh,
right? So Annie, how's been parenting in the last 3 months?
a total nightmare. Um, in terms of, right, here's the vision I want you to have. So
Yeah.
my son is 8, so he's been Zooming, and I have to tell you, his district, his teacher, wonderful. I didn't have to do much of my own thinking. It was all laid out clearly for me. The transition, not perfect, but really great. I have to say I'm very fortunate for my son's school district where he goes. And I have a 4-year-old. And so here's my vision. I'm in my room because I don't have an office right at home. And my 4-year-old daughter's fingers are underneath the door. Fingers. Mommy, play with me. And I'm like, this is tough because I just want to go play with you. I clearly, if I had the option.
Right.
So it was really difficult, and my husband's also a teacher. So he was teaching his classes on his Zoom, and all 4 of us are at home. And I felt bad for Riley the worst because she's 4 and she didn't get the attention, a lot of TV watching.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. And they, even to this day, right, I come into the office because they don't understand that, like you all, we're home, but we can't play. I'm
Yeah.
on the screen. And they don't get it. They just don't get it.
No, but that's so, like, you know, one of the things we have to do as parents, and this has been a wonderful place to chat about it, is to forgive ourselves for the things that we didn't want to do as parents. Like you said, TV time, and you're like, I'm so sorry about that. Like, I'm sure when we said it, we're like, we're not going to watch TV, we're going to read books all the time, we're going to play all the time, and we were all great parents before we became parents, first of all, right? And then we were even better parents before March, right? But really, okay, Annie, you are not alone.
Yeah, and again, I had to give it up, right? Because there's nothing I could do about the situation. And in terms of my job,
Yeah.
I needed to connect with, they don't work my hours at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm trying to create an orientation program. I need answers. They're not going to respond to my email at 6 o'clock when I could have the time if I altered my schedule, right? And did. Yeah. So some of my peers, they had that luxury of like, all right, I'll be with the kids during the day and then I'll work till 2 o'clock in the morning. And they were okay with that. I didn't have that flexibility.
Yeah.
So that was tough. But it is what it is, kids are resilient. They're the smartest human beings and the greatest manipulators on the planet. 3-month-old babies are so smart.
Yeah.
No one gives them enough credit.
Yeah. Tell me what you mean by 3-month-old babies are so smart. Tell me what you mean.
They know when they cry, someone's going to pick them up. They manipulate your life. They make you like, nope, I need a schedule, right? Or I'm going to be hell. Like, give me my nap. Feed me. It starts at 3 months. I really do think that they have figured it out, like that human. And I think kids in general, geniuses. And then as you get older, you just start to lose, or you just accept some of those things that you have to change, where it's like, you're a kid, it's your world. Like,
yeah, I love that. We're all born geniuses. And then we just lose.
I do. I think life beats you down.
Yeah.
But I think out of the gates, like, you're smart. You know how to manipulate any situation. You want a treat? Here's what you're going to do. Throw a tantrum in a public place, right? They wait. They don't do that like at home. They wait. It's like, all right, you're 2 or 3. We're going to just like lose it in a Target aisle. Like, they know.
They know.
They know.
They know. They know. Harlan, are your kids old enough to not disrupt you, or are you not at home? I mean, for all I know, you're in like the space shuttle right now.
Well, here, I'm going to reveal the mystery here, okay? So if I tilt my computer up a little bit, okay, you can see the ceiling tile and you can see the wood paneling, okay? Yeah. So I'm actually in my basement. I have another office space, but my wife's a speech pathologist and she does a lot of therapy. So She's doing virtual therapy.
Yeah.
And then we have 3 kids. I have a 14-year-old, I have a 12-year-old, and I have is he 7? He's 7. I get confused. That wasn't acting. Because they had birthdays, and you kind of get used to the rhythm of like, anyway. So it's been a very interesting adventure for each one of them, because they're at 3 different schools. Because my wife is a speech therapist, and because we have a 7-year-old who needs some attention, then we've kind of been co-parenting, and I've just adjusted my life to working at home and doing it here. And my 7-year-old, like he knows, he's like, he knows, he's even said, we don't bother daddy during the day, because like we've had boundary setting, and boundary setting is so painful because I love my kids more than anything in the world.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love my career and I love what I do, spending time with them, that's just how I'm programmed. I would, like when you said your daughter stuck her fingers under the door and she's like, I want to play. I'm like, my heart was like breaking because of course you want to play. And the idea that she doesn't understand that is even more heartbreaking. But then I was also thinking, because I'm always a pretty positive guy, is that she knows how much you love her. And she knows that the time when you can spend that time is probably even overflowing with more, let's say, or there will be some time. So, I've been really good at giving myself permission to not be the best parent all the time. My wife and I have really had to work through that. My son has become, really a great TV watcher. He has got so much Robux. He likes Roblox.
Uh-huh.
So he's accumulated an enormous amount of wealth in Roblox. But the thing is, he's like learned about it and understands the story. But then what's really cool is because he's been doing so much watching that, there's this podcast called Business Wars. And this Business Wars, it's a really cool podcast if anyone has kids and you're on the road, or if you're tired of your kids watching TV. What he'll do is he'll sit and listen to a podcast, or he'll listen to an audiobook through the library, because the library gives you free audiobooks. So as kind of one way of just not having to be on the screens all the time is he'll do that. But what's cool is because he spent so much time doing the online stuff and doing TV stuff, he's been able to make these connections. Like there's even a Business War it's Business Wars podcast. If anyone wants to know about this, it's so cool. And it's like Starbucks versus Dunkin' Donuts, and it's Nintendo versus PlayStation. So he likes that. And then what's also really cool is he wanted to start a YouTube channel. Like every kid wants to start a YouTube channel, right? So the thing is, he actually started a YouTube channel. He's only got one, and it's him gaming. And his older brother edits it. And then they've created this together to do something. And they've only done, 1 episode, but they're going to do more. So it's like, okay, if they have to do this, let's at least try to make this something of value.
Yeah, they're learning in the process.
We're still great parents. Like you two are the best parents in the world. You're amazing.
I think one of the things too, as you bring that up, right, to my son, Jason, I love this. He, this is actually, I'm not making this up. He says to me last week, I want to get Bon Jovi on a Zoom. I'm like, wait, like on a Zoom call? He goes, yes, because I want to be a rock star. And so I need some advice. So he thinks in his own mind, he's 8, right?
Yeah.
That he can just Zoom with whomever. Like you can just get him on a Zoom and that you can just reach out. I said, I'll make calls for you. But the other piece of that is, so it's like funny how like, this is really interesting. Yeah. They can call anyone now. And then the other piece, which was kind of like, ooh, I'm not totally against technology. I'm not one of those parents. I think everything in life, moderation is key, right? So like, including McDonald's, like we'll go through a drive-through once in a while, right? So, but Flipgrid is one of those things that clubs and organizations are starting to use, right? So you can post the thing on Flipgrid and you can, so his class did it. And the teacher was asking every day to show proof of work that you were doing at home to put a thing on Flipgrid. But then it was creating this, how many people liked my Flipgrid post?
Oh, yeah, it's tough, right?
Oh my God, aren't we trying to get away from people linking their identity with how many likes? I try to do this all the time. Your value isn't worth the click, right? Just stop that craziness. But now it's like started with my son. He's like, oh, I don't care how many people didn't click and like my video, but I'm like, yes, you do, because that's human nature.
Yeah, it is. If there's any chance that anybody watching this is not interested in our children, we fully understand. But we promise you that at the end of this video, the most important nuggets of information will be said out of our mouths. So you don't want to fade out now. No, we're still going to talk about our kids. Oh yeah, we are. But stick with us, okay? Stick with us. And wait, full disclosure, because you showed your backstage, Harlan. Let me show my backstage. It looks like a perfect studio. I've got paper, masking tape to a wall. I'm in a Spanish classroom. I'm in a Spanish classroom, and I've shown this a couple times before, but I think it's really important that we just reveal, like, my guitar is the only thing showing, but there's also like a roll of masking tape, like some glasses cleaner, if my glasses are smudgy. But now now I'm on stage, right?
Beautiful.
But I'm very fortunate that I'm in a building called the Global Education Center, and I had an office here starting in the fall. And then when they stopped holding classes, I was able to commandeer every classroom. So I'm in more of an internal building, but every once in a while you can still hear the fire station trucks going by. So every once in a while I have to mute myself because you hear the woo. Anyway, there. Now I've shown you backstage. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Yeah.
When you're talking about the grad students or anybody who doesn't have kids, the one thing that has really risen to the top is being the creator of our own joy. And I have a 13-year-old who now 14-year-old daughter who is in 8th grade going to high school. And in an instant, boom, she lost her place, because her school is her place. She lost her people because of social distancing. And she's very wrapped up into relationships, and she likes to be affirmed, and she likes to have those things that are to be reminded of that. And she lost her people, and she lost her patience, and she got really impatient. And what I recognized is, all the things that gave her joy were no longer there. And when all the things that give you joy are external, and those things are quickly taken away from you in a way that no one ever expected, then the big question is, what can you do that's dependent on you to create joy in your life? How can you become your own joy factory? Mm-hmm. And what I've discovered is that this amazing gift we've been given, painful and difficult, and those who are dealing with the health ramifications, my heart goes out to you. But then there's that other side of, okay, on the social and emotional level, what have we been given? And what we've been given is transition and change, and an opportunity to be the creators of our own joy, and helping our children to do this, and helping ourselves to do this. And it's been incredibly painful and difficult. Yeah. But the process, and I think that we're going to come out of this. I know we're going to come out. I'm always very positive. Like what you're talking about with your son, he's like, I could Zoom with anyone. All of a sudden, accessibility, even kids in rural communities who are living in horrible situations, seeing that there's a path and a way for me to get where I want to go. Right. What gives me joy, and how can I live in that place of joy knowing that I can create it? And I hope, that's fingers crossed, that that's something. And then for our students who are going to college, who are looking for connection and community, well, what is it at this school that can give me joy? What do I love to do where I can connect with someone who loves to do it? And even if I can't do it, I can have a conversation about how much I love to do it, and potentially even meet somewhere, someplace, sometime, knowing that I have someone new who's in my corner who I can share joy with, based on what really aligns with my spirit. So I hope that comes out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think finding connection to the things that bring you joy. Here's what brings me joy. Annie. What song or artist would you play in the morning if you were having a day and you were having a cloudy morning and you needed a theme song for the day, right? What would that, do you have go-to theme songs that are like, throw the covers off, I'm gonna crush this day?
So this will not come as a shock to you, but one of my other jobs that I created for myself at the colleges, I have a portable speaker, and I put it right outside my office. And I got bored, I don't know, last semester, people were down. So every Friday I DJ.
No way.
As I'm working, I DJ outside. And students, the greatest thing was watching students like get a little pop in their step, right? Going to get food. Like everyone's like, I love this song, you know? And so like Walking on Sunshine, you know, I always love Destiny's Child. I'm a Survivor. I mean, that just pumps people up. Black Eyed Peas. I mean, With Love. I mean, I'm like Ally McBeal. Like if you could have music following me throughout the day, like the baby dancing, remember that?
That's so cool.
I would love, I do it all the time. And actually, I got in a little trouble because the building across from me, they were like, what's with this music? And I said, well, you know, some institutions have like the big piano as you walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
For the tours, because they need to know we're like a happy, fun place here. So I didn't get told to take it down. But I am music 24/7. And the month of March, because I'm Irish and I love being Irish, if anyone enters my office in the month of March, it's Irish music 24/7. And it's funny to watch people's reaction as they come in. What is this, a jig? I'm like, yep, it's my month. It's Irish month, the entire month of March.
No kidding, you just play Irish folk music in your office?
24/7.
I love it.
Yeah. And actually, you know, it's passive culture. It's like, all right, well, this is my culture. And
right.
Yeah. And so they, you know, get a little Irish lesson when they come in.
What a great idea. So that's a great message to all the advisors. I mean, music really does impact the brain. Like it's proven that music and melody and music has changes the way your brain functions. And putting music into your life, even in the early morning or throughout the day, if you're in a funk, put some tunes on that really get you out of that funk. And it's the same thing as like watching a motivational video on YouTube. It really, like, don't shy away from that anywhere in the world. Like, include those things in your life. Thanks, Annie. Hey, Harlan, how about you? Do you have a favorite band or a go-to song?
Oh man, you know, a lot of times, so if I'm in the kitchen, you know, with my wife, she loves Indigo Girls. And a lot of times, if she's feeling, you know, not like in the best place, I'll say, you know, Alexa, play Indigo Girls. Oh, geez. Now it's like, I shouldn't have said that because now everybody's thing's going to go off. So she really likes that. So I like, you know, when I'm around her, I know like that's one of her go-tos. But you know, I always like a little, gosh, I've been really enjoying a lot of different music lately. But, you know, I always go to my old go-tos are Billy Joel. I always like Billy Joel. I just feel like a sense of closeness and safety for that. And then a little Simon and Garfunkel will get me moving, at least the upbeat music. And then I like Vampire Weekend as just kind of a soundtrack underneath me, because Vampire Weekend is like a great beat that gets me working. So I dig that. And then I'll do like a Bare Naked Ladies radio, which gives me a little mix of a little everything. So I like that, you know, kind of, you know, whatever.
Well, the artists you mentioned, they really, I mean, not only are their melodies, but lyrically, their songs, many of their songs are about overcoming obstacles. If you might not realize that, but those artists write songs about challenges that they've overcome. Yeah. Right? Lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did, Bare Naked Ladies, you know, welcome to the old apartment. Right. Like, that's a song about getting dumped. You know, like a bridge over troubled waters. Like, let things go. Like, let the pain go past you. Let's move forward. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. And again, like music will bring us together. Music will put a smile on your face. It'll make your kids dance. It'll make you rip the covers off and get off the couch. Yeah. So Annie, let's go back to your songs that you were playing. Walking on Sunshine. Right, Harlan. Do you know the chorus to that one?
Well, I mean, I know the part where it's like walking on sunshine.
Yeah. Let's do it together right now. Annie, you ready? Ready? And because it's Zoom, it'll all be at different times. Like, that's the best part. We'll be doing a sing along. We're gonna do a group sing along. I'm gonna dance a little bit, right? But we're gonna sing. It-
This is a hard one to sing. This
I know. Well,
is not
wait, you're right. And you know what the problem is? It's the same thing over and over again.
It is. It's
I'm
not.
walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine.
Well, that's
All right,
perfect.
let's pick another. Let's pick another chorus then, Annie. Do you want to do a, you want to do a Bon Jovi song?
Oh my God, my kids are all about. Can I just play you my kids singing Bon Jovi last night?
Oh my gosh, we can drop it in. Yeah.
They're just living on a prayer. Like my daughter last night, she's singing at her
Okay.
dad, like, you
All
know.
right. And we'll do "Living on a Prayer." We all know the words to that. I'll start it. You guys sing with me.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand and we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. Harlan, that was
Oh,
awesome.
I didn't really feel comfortable enough to belt it out, but
That's okay.
you
But
could see it.
you felt it. You felt it.
We all felt it.
We're here to uplift and inspire advisors across the country to do kick booty work and to be cool with where they are, right? And to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, to be cool with the speed bumps and the rejections, to build your network of connections. And if it's you connect with Harlan, if it's you connect with Annie, if it's you connect with somebody at a school 17 hours away, like we are all in this together and we're here to support each other. So thank you, Annie, for being here. And Harlan, thank you for being my first ever 3-part interview, right? This is
Fun.
cool. Yeah.
I'm happy I got to meet Annie. What a gift.
I know. So I think what I'm hoping for, and I'll say this: moving forward, I want to do monthly check-ins with everybody, and maybe those monthly check-ins will be more group chats like this, so that we can share them and see, hey, how are we now? Where are you now? How's it going now? Do you have any new ideas? What was your biggest rejection this month, right? And those are important things to share. Wait, here comes a siren.
Right along with the rejection.
Perfect timing, right? Perfect timing. Harlan, closing advice for folks across the country?
Well, I love that idea. If you do something, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. And then no matter what, it's going to be okay. And it's really been just something that I think of every day is no matter what, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay because it's always okay. And if for any reason, God forbid, it's not okay, you won't be around to know. So you might as well think it's going to be okay and let that be your last thought, because truly the majority of the time it is okay. And we're going to get through this and we're going to be stronger and we're going to build new relationships. I already have a new one by meeting Annie and being open to whatever comes next, being open to something, knowing it's going to be okay no matter what, and having our people in places and just trusting the universe. Good things are going to happen. They will. They always do. And we're in this together.
Thank you, Harlan. Annie.
I would say, as Harlan, I am the ultra optimist. Again, because I write my own story. I let others do that. And I think the more that we can preach, as you said, Harlan, comfortable in your own existence. When everything's taken away, what drives you? What makes you passionate? What are those hobbies or things that make you happy and make you smile? And I don't think it's as far reaching. I think people, like I always say when we in the programming world, they're like, they want the circus, the elephants, the red thing, the flying dancers. You don't need that. You don't actually need any of that stuff. At any party, what's the thing? The food and the music. Have those covered, people have a good time. It's not up to you as the party planner to make sure that everyone's having a good time. You just set the stage. And in life, for me, I set my own stage. And I have every opportunity of every part of my day, regardless of what meeting I come in and out of, to say, what do I want to take from that? And how do I still keep positive? And that is totally under your control. Like, people freely give their sense of acknowledgement, affirmation to too many people, in my opinion. You got to own it yourself. And if you can't be happy with yourself, then you really don't have anyone else to blame, because you create, I do this activity with the students all the time. Draw a sailboat. Who anchors you? Who pushes you forward? Who's your sunlight? that's one of my most favorite activities to do with them, because self-reflect. And I think in this time, I don't really have the time to self-reflect. So don't give it away. Choose the things that make you happy. And I believe, Harlan, just like you and Jason, like, there is a sunshine at the end, because I'm going to create that sunshine. Harlan, you're going to create that sunshine. Jason, all those advisors, we're happy people. Continue to be happy.
Yeah.
The world's on fire. Still continue to be happy.
Yeah. And if you need us, we're here.
Yeah.
So Annie, though, here's the nugget. Here's the thing I promised.
Yeah.
The sailboat activity. Can you go into more detail on that? Yeah, that sounds so cool.
So honestly, I wish I could give credit to whoever did this, but I've been doing this for like 15 years now. So I apologize to whoever created this. But I literally, for my staff, I do it with my staff too. I print out a sailboat. I'm not a drawer. I just Google an image sailboat and print it out. And then it prompts you questions. So what is, the turbulence and the rough waters? You could really take it anywhere. But, what are those turbulent times and the rough waters? How do you navigate through those? The anchor, who anchors you most in life? What direction is your sail right now? Is it going forward facing? Is it going backwards? Who's on your boat? Are you by yourself or are you with others? If it got separated at a deserted island, what would you do? If you lost the wind speed, what would you do? So you could really take it to thought process about, I actually did this with my entire division, and they were very, kind and went along with it. But it got them thinking, right? Like, go to your core. I think we spend too much time as a world trying to control things you have absolutely no control over. You're on a boat, you're going down, and then oops. You didn't know it was coming?
Did you say hurricane?
Hurricane.
Yeah.
I feel like it was timely. You have no idea. So what are you going to do in that moment? And it's really getting people, especially our students, to say, we create our own destiny. What do you see that's over the horizon? How do you get there? What steps do you take now to get you across to those lurky seas? And so I like that. Again, I wish I don't know where I got it.
No, it's wonderful. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Oh, see, I promised a nugget, and there it was. Hey, I mean, this conversation was full of so much great stuff. So Harlan and Annie, don't leave the meeting. We're just going to say goodbye, and I'm going to stop the recording. All right, but an official thank you to both of you for taking the time out of the day to spend with me and share your positive energy and your knowledge with everybody. So thank you. And here we go. End the recording now. And lots of love to everybody out there.